Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear student. Hope that you all are doing well. My name is Meena Sabdar. I will teach you the subject of curriculum design and instruction. Today I will start the second topic, and as usual I will again say that your feedback is very much important for me for assessing your understanding about the topic. So you can comment in the Google Classroom if you are facing any difficulty, or you can comment in the comment box, and you can email me on the email ID I will provide you in the last slide. So let's start the topic. So firstly, let's have an overview of the topic, because I expect that at the end of the topic you will be able to understand the different forms of curriculum and to differentiate the different forms of curriculum. So this is our second topic, titled Various Forms of Curriculum. So let's see the forms of curriculum. The first form of curriculum is here, that is core curriculum. Core refers to the heart of experiences every learner must go through, or the fundamental knowledge that all students are required to learn in the school. Second, a core curriculum is a curriculum or a course of study which is deemed central and usually made mandatory for all students of a school or school system, such as math, science, English, history, and geography. The learners have no option but to study the prescribed course and to move to the next level in their education or earn a diploma. So what is the core curriculum? It refers to the mandatory subjects which are considered fundamental and essential for the learners. The examples you can see here, that the examples include the subjects of maths, science, Urdu, SST. Here you can see that there is no option for the students to skip any course, but he or she has to study that particular subject. If he or she fails in a subject, then he or she has to repeat that subject, because it was prerequisite to proceed to the next level or to be promoted to the next level or grade. You can take another example uh, at elementary or secondary level, where the mandatory subjects are you read the subjects of Urdu, English, math, science, SST, and computer, that were essential or mandatory for every student. Likewise, you can take the example of your program, BS English, botany, zoology, math. The all subjects you are studying are fundamental for your program, and you all are learning these subjects. You have no choice for skipping any type of course, any type of subject here. So these all courses which are necessary, essential, and mandatory for every learner, because this is the common learning for every learner. They cannot skip any subjects. This is called the core curriculum. The next type of curriculum is the subject-centered curriculum. Again, the Plato's philosophy is here. The subject-centered curriculum revolves around a particular subject matter or discipline. Here, the subject matter is considered more important. For example, a subject-centered curriculum may focus on math or biology. So teachers are considered more important to decide about the content or the methodology for the learners. Learners are considered passive ones. They have to not memorize the subject. Their needs, their interests are not considered worthwhile or important. So the importance is only of the subject matter, and the mastery of knowledge is considered more important. This type of curriculum tends to focus on the subject rather than the individual needs or interest. So curriculum developers organize the curriculum around a given subject area and plan activities that will lead learners to the mastery of the elements of the subject area. Here, the teacher facilitates the learner to have the mastery on the subject matter. They do not consider the learner's needs or interest because subject matter is more important. So here, if you don't memorize the formulas of math, you are not able to perform calculation or to proceed to the next level. So this is called the subject-centered curriculum, which revolves around the subject or the content or the subject matter. The next form of curriculum is learner-centered curriculum. It is totally opposite to the subject-centered curriculum, where the interest and needs and the psychology of the children or the learner or the students are considered more important. Students work in pairs, in groups, or alone depending on the purpose of the activity, because the teacher engage the students in activities because they perceive the students more creative and reflective. So this is based on the learning by doing concept, because students learn those concepts more effectively in which they are actively involved. So students work without constant instructors monitoring. The role of the instructor is here to facilitate the learner's knowledge, the learner's progress, or to monitor the learner's progress, but to help the learner where he needs some improvement or where he needs the help of the teacher, not the constant monitoring. Students answer each other's question because there is a social interaction between the students. If some students doesn't know about something, then the other student who is able in that or competent in that particular subject, then he may help his or her class fellow. Using instructor as an information source. Here the instructor is as an information source. Students can get help from the teacher. So this is only based on the learner-centered psychology. Here the students' or learners' needs are considered most important. The next type of curriculum is the hidden curriculum. Hidden curriculum refers to the unwritten, unofficial, and often unintended lessons, values, and perspectives that students learn in schools. It means that this type of curriculum is not written in any type of document, but they are unwritten or unofficial lessons or values the teacher wants to teach to the student. The hidden curriculum concept is based on the recognition that students absorb lesson in school that is a part of the formal course. It means that the school promotes such values or the teacher promotes such values or traditions or cultural values which are considered very important, but they are not in the form of written form. For example, how they should interact with peer. If you take the example of the classroom, then what would be the hidden or unintended lessons that are not in written form? This teacher can teach the students or can inform the students about the interactions of the peers and how to interact with teachers or the elders or the other adults, and how should they perceive the different races and the groups and the classes of people, and how they should behave positively and demonstrate positive behavior which is desirable and acceptable for the society, for the teachers, for the elders. So these all ethical values or traditions that students absorb in a formal classroom, but they are not in written form, they are all considered the part of hidden or covert curriculum. The next is concomitant curriculum. Concomitant curriculum, what is taught or emphasized at home, or those experiences that are part of a family experiences or related experiences sanctioned by the family. Here the learners learn much more knowledge or information or gain some knowledge by the family members, by the neighbors. So this is the type of concomitant curriculum. This type also include the mosque or church where you can go for offering the prayers, or where the khutbah of Maulana can be included in that type of curriculum, because they provide some information, relevant experiences to the persons. So in the context of religious expression, lessons on values, ethics, morals, or social experiences based on the family preferences. So these all lessons or values gained through the family members, or the experiences of the family members, or gained by the any place like mosque or church, and their values, these are all the part of concomitant curriculum. The next is written curriculum. Here is the two types of written curriculum. One is the lesson plan written by the teacher and the syllabus, and the other is curriculum designed by the curriculum developers. You can see the National Curriculum Document of Pakistan 2006, where you can see the standards, benchmarks, and SLOs of any subject. So the curriculum designed by the curriculum developers is firstly pilot tested, which means if they design a curriculum for any particular level, then they do not implement it on large level, large scale. For example, if a curriculum designer or developers design the curriculum for Punjab province, then it will not be implemented in all schools of province, but it will be implemented in samples or some schools to check the effectiveness, or to remove the weaknesses or barriers of that curriculum, because otherwise there will be a wastage of money and we cannot bear it. Especially in the context of Pakistan, we don't have so much resources available here. So firstly we have to pilot test the curriculum, so we can judge the weaknesses of the curriculum, or we can determine the effectiveness of the curriculum, and after that we can remove all the weaknesses, all the barriers from the way of the curriculum, and this way the written curriculum can be implemented on the large scale. The next is taught curriculum. The taught curriculum is all about the learning activities, the teacher's lesson or lecture, the group work in which the students are involved either in the laboratory experiments, or they are doing under the guidance of the teacher. So this is about the implementation of written curriculum. What is being taught, or an activity being done in the classroom, is a taught curriculum. This is an example of taught curriculum. So when teachers give lecture, initiate group work, or ask students to do a laboratory experiment with their guidance, the taught curriculum is demonstrated. So this is all about the teaching or implementation of written curriculum. The next is spotted curriculum. What is spotted curriculum? It means that all the instructional materials, that textbooks, such as textbooks, audiovisual materials, blogs, wikis, and other are examples of spotted curriculum, because these all things support the curriculum. Other examples might include the playgrounds, zoos, gardens, museums, and real life objects. For example, if a student is studying zoology, he might plan a trip to the zoo, and if the student is the part of botany program, then the teacher may decide to plan a trip to the gardens, and if the student is studying the history, then the teacher might plan for a trip to the museum, to give the real life experiences to the learner. This may enhance the learning experiences or lifelong learning of the students. So it is called the spotted curriculum, because it helps teachers to implement a written curriculum, thus enables students to become lifelong learners, because real life situation provides an opportunity to the learner to become lifelong learner. They capture the things in a more effective way. This may become the more interesting things for them. Then the last form of curriculum is societal curriculum. Course 1981 defines this curriculum as a massive, ongoing, informal curriculum gained by family. This type of curriculum is actually when experiences are based on the experiences of the family or the information gained by the family, the peer groups, neighborhood, school organization, or the occupation where you are going to doing job, then the mass media and the socializing forces that educate all of us throughout our lives. So here the mass media is playing an important role. This type of curricula can now be expanded to include the powerful effects of social media. We can see the effectiveness of this media these days in critical situation also, that we are informed, but the media is providing the every type of information to us. There are other sources like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, etc., and how it actively helps in creating new perspective, because it is promoting to create new perspective, to developing new perspectives for the people. So this type of curriculum is very important, which is gained by the family member, peer group, organizations, occupational, and most importantly, the mass media, that is more socializing force to educate the people. This is my content information. You can give your feedback on this email ID. If you have any query or any difficulty regarding the topic of today, then you can drop your comment in the comment box in the Google Classroom, or you can email me on this email ID, that is saminasabda12345@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Have a good day.